Welcome back to Invest Global. Today we're going to be discussing a little talked about alternative asset class rare art. Now, a lot of people who only have investable assets in the stock market, maybe a little bit of real estate, that are not internationally diversified, that don't have exposure to commodities, don't have exposure to emerging market technologies like blockchain, like biotech, and a lot of other really innovative future asset classes. Those people may understand artwork as an investment class, but the majority, I'm curious if you guys watching this know anything about investing in blue chip art. It's been a space that I've been very interested in for the past couple of years, especially when Masterworks rolled out this kind of tokenized version of art. So just to explain this from a high level, just very, very basic overview is the art market is massive. A majority of the 1% own a substantial, I would say like 5 to 10% of their net worth in rare arts. I think a lot of people don't understand that. Like a lot of these ultra high net worth individuals hold a lot of their net worth in rare art. Now, again, if you just have stocks, just have real estate, you probably don't have a lot of money in investable art. Your diversification strategy doesn't involve rare arts. But the idea here with tokenizing blue chip arts is you gain exposure to this asset class that's really fixed, right? Like if a artist like Picasso, for example, if you can have a share of that art piece, but not have the downside risk of custodying the actual physical art piece, the delivery, the security, all these things that you have to keep in mind if you have the art piece, let's say in your home or one of your many homes around the world, which is what a lot of these people that are in the art space that are private investors end up doing. And this is a little segment. Today, we're really just going to be touching on the art investment class kind of as a whole. I do think Masterworks is a great way to gain exposure to it. But I wanted to read you this, and then we'll move into some kind of interesting other things as far as the art market and kind of tying it in with non-fungible tokens. Even though for NFTs, I really don't see the main use case long-term being digital art. It is a temporary thing, and it is pretty. You have to at least. I mean, when I'm covering rare arts, I have to acknowledge the fact that Beeple, a digital artist, that's creating NFTs, he did a daily series. He sold a piece on Christie's auction house, which is a extremely well-known, if not the top-known, auction house in the art market, for $69 million. Insane for a digital piece of art. So you have to keep that in mind when it comes to the art space and kind of the idea of using blockchain technology with this space to have tokenized versions, basically shares that can be traded. Okay, so outperformance and low correlation. Multi-million-dollar artwork has long been a cornerstone of investing of the ultra-high wealthy Citi Private Bank. Calculated long-term correlation coefficient of 0.12 between arts in the S&P 500 index, which is very low level of correlation. This is why we believe that contemporary art also plays a key role in diversifying any portfolio. So I would consider this an inflation hedge asset, really an inflation hedge alternative asset, right? Like I think an interesting play genuinely is if you're into classic cars like combustion engine vehicles, get a classic car that they're not going to make another one of because they're not making a lot of combustion engine vehicles. Like a classic truck is a great example. Gain exposure in that way. And that's really an inflation hedge asset, especially if it brings you joy, if you enjoy it, and you already have proper investments set up, which I'm assuming you do. If you're looking for any alternative asset class, really you need to set up your ground foundation, which let me know if you have any questions on. I probably will make a video on this, like kind of a portfolio building or portfolio structure, something like this. Moving forward, I might end up doing a series on this. Currently working on the Global TA series, which is Global Technical Analysis, breaking down how to trade in capital markets, which I delayed a little bit since coming here to the United States. But I'm flying out to Tbilisi, Georgia on Thursday. I've had to move my flight back multiple times, so I plan to return to that. But anyways, that's kind of the idea here is, you have all these, most people are just in the S&P or like just in the US stock market. Maybe they have a tiny bit of like bond holdings, or maybe they have some exposure to real estate, or maybe a little bit to commodities, or maybe a little bit to crypto. But when you're looking at, okay, the annualized performance from 1995 to 2020, contemporary art actually outperforms the S&P, outperforms global equities, outperforms gold, outperforms US housing. Now, in my opinion, I'm not going to hold a large or at least not, just kind of my strategy is I don't hold a large allocation of my portfolio in art. Now, if I was really into art and interested in it, and maybe I was an artist, and I'm probably the worst artist in the world, then I would have a larger exposure. But I do gain exposure through something like Masterworks. And there's no referral link. This is purely me. So I probably could get a referral link if I wanted to. Nothing like that. I'm just opening the door here so you kind of understand what I'm talking about. Let me know in the comments if you have, or sorry. Yes, let me know in the comments if you have any questions. I thought I was saying let me know in the questions if you have any comments, but you get the point here. Let's move on to this next thing. So this is basically how it works. We'll talk about that, but first I did want to talk about this. This Artprice launches its blue chip art market index, Artprice 100, designed for financiers and investors. This is basically like an index on the art market. So the global index shows an average value increase of 30% plus since the index was started 20 years ago, although it is an appreciable performance, particularly at the time when central banks' interest rates are close to zero in the United States, the Federal Reserve, and negative in Europe, the ECB. If we focus uniquely on the most stable segment of the market, we find a much more impressive value accretion. Assertion. Maybe I'm pronouncing that wrong. So I'll have a link to this down below. This is kind of another way you can gain exposure through an index like this, and it is very interesting in my opinion to compare the two. So then this article from Deloitte, just basic trends in the art market, just to go over to kind of give a little bit more perspective on this, and then again I'll talk about how it works, and then a little bit more about Beeple. Okay, so globalization and research with the long-term worldwide trend of increasing wealth alongside a growth in knowledge about collectible markets, a much larger community has started to be interested in collecting and or investing in art or rare collectible assets. Art is in the overall asset allocation strategy. Art is an asset, is attractive over the long run as it's a store of value that generates moderate positive returns. Okay, now guys, whenever you're reading an article like this, always keep in mind they're most likely giving it the best case scenario, right? Like this is not true at all. If you just go and buy a piece of artwork, you have to understand the context is what I'm trying to say. This is not saying go buy a piece of artwork at like Bed Bath & Beyond in the United States or one at like Walmart's. You can buy any piece of artwork, but it's just copy and paste it, right? Okay, so what you want is scarce art. That's why I talk about blue chip, rare art. That's what the focus is here, is art that overall in long term has substantial piece in history or has some aesthetic that people really, really like and has value, has a demand. Now, what is the demand for some random piece of art that some college kid is going to put up in their dorm or in their apartment or some new couple? They're not going to buy some Picasso, right? They're going to buy some copy, like something like this. Okay, so keep that in mind with the context of what I'm talking about here. Several new different initiatives around the world search to securitize several billions of US dollars of artwork, such as art investment funds, tradable art structure products, which is basically what Masterworks is, or dedicated art trading exchanges. Increasing interest from financial industry. So this is another trend, and then we'll wrap it up with increasing transparency, which can also be improved with blockchain technology. So we can see a development as an asset class and relative art services among the financial institutions. The offering mainly consists of three categories of art services: art advisory services, art lending, and art investment services. So the art market is becoming more and more transparent due to research in finance, economics, and data dissemination. So remember, with blockchain technology, basically what you can do with each of these pieces of art is create an NFT that's backed one-to-one with these and then prove verification. And then also you could kind of tokenize that out. There's so many different layers you can build on top of the art market, especially as we see blockchain technology merging with centralized finance. I am most bullish on really two sectors, I would say. Or three, I guess. You could say global supply chains, so supply chain management using blockchain technology, number one. Number two, and with that, I would kind of throw in, so for number two, I would talk about decentralized finance in emerging markets. That's going to be massive. Third, you could say a mixture between e-commerce and things like art, okay? So that's kind of my thoughts around this. And then lastly, obviously with Beeple, like I was talking about with blockchain, this was that piece that was sold for ridiculous amounts. Pretty insane. So let's see. Minted exclusively on Christie's, a monumental digital collage was offered as a single lot sale concurrently with first open and realized $69 million, 346,250, marking two of the industry's first. So that's pretty awesome. Then NFT. Just pretty incredible what they're doing there. Let's wrap it up here on Masterworks. Just to discuss this complete platform for investing in art. So as you know, this is kind of the whole pitch. Blue chip art has outperformed the S&P 500 by 180% from 2000 to 2018. Deloitte estimates total value be 1.7 trillion. Okay, great. That's the pitch. But how it works is the most important thing. And maybe I can do a separate video on this, but I just wanted to preview this and then we'll wrap this video up. So also, by the way, just let me know in the comments if you have any questions. Like I said, hit the like button on the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell to stay up to date. Moving on to this. We find the best artists, Our research team uses our proprietary data to determine which artist markets have the most momentum and we believe produce the best risk-adjusted returns. We purchase the best art. Our acquisition team locates the best example available at the best price and best purchase the work. We securitize the artworks. We file an offer circular with the Securities and Exchange Commission, the SEC, allowing anyone to invest, and then holding it for 3 to 10 years, tokenizing it basically, so selling shares on the secondary market. And that's basically what you would be doing, is you would identify the artist with momentum, get into a quality project. Again, I'm not saying you should do this. I'm saying do your own research, look into this. Not financial advice, but it can be an interesting alternative asset class if you're looking for something like this as a hedge, and maybe you already are diversified in crypto, diversified in emerging markets, commodity stocks. You should be good to go. So we buy the best examples at the best prices. So once we've decided which artist markets are appreciating at auction, our acquisition team locates and chooses the best example available to by value to offer our members. So buy, sells, and shares. You can enter the secondary market and see that there's no transaction fees. It's very, very early access and lower minimum. So that's pretty much all for today's video. Just to wrap it up, you do have to keep in mind with this, there is some management fees. So these basically cover professional storage, insurance, administrative costs, regulatory filings, and annual appraisals. Hey, they have to make money at the end of the day, right? So that's all for this video. Again, let me know if you have any questions in the comments. The like, subscribe button, all, invest global, and until next time.